is, how do you find yourself? And then, it's not all of us that are familiar with so much of design. So there's a third section that says, what exactly is design? And then we have a fourth that says, explaining your discovery by design, or explaining your discovery or deciding on your action and all of that. And then the last aspect, which I would like to close with, is designing the outcome of your discovery. So the general concept of self-discovery by design also means that there's an expected outcome which you are supposed to design after you find yourself. So it's not only about using design to find yourself, it's also about expressing what you find actually by design as well. Okay? So why do you need to find yourself? If we do not know why, we'll find out that we wouldn't really push like we should. So if you don't have a strong enough why to pursue something, to go after anything in life, you would find out that along the line you will see it as probably not worth it, or you want to drop the ball in the middle, or you just feel like, this is not working out, and you can quickly switch. But the moment you know the reason why you're doing what you're doing, then you will be able to pursue it to the very end. Okay? So self-discovery itself actually pushes us to intentional living, because the moment you discover who you are and what you are supposed to be doing, then you'll get the chance to be intentional about doing what you need to do. At the same time, intentional living also pushes us to self-discovery. So if you're already intentional about your life, intentional about the things that you're doing at the moment, then obviously you are on a strong path of self-discovery. You already know it, or probably you didn't know it before. And I'm telling you that that's actually what it is, okay? So you have to be intentional about your life, and you need to constantly realize that self-discovery is a journey and not exactly a destination that you need to arrive at. What I discover is that a certain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months old baby actually has some sort of self-discovery. What they don't actually have is self-awareness. So they might not be so aware of what is happening, but they discover something. They're beginning to discover that there is something that makes me uncomfortable, that makes me want to suck my mommy's breast. They might not be able to understand and interpret it as hunger, but there is some sort of discovery, like something happens to me at some point. They feel some bowel movement and they pee in their diapers, and they are like, okay, something happens and something passes out. If I've had a number of babies in the initial time, you can almost tell when they're about to either pee or poop, because they would wait and say, okay, something is happening here. Is anybody else feeling this thing I'm feeling? So they might not necessarily be aware of what exactly is going on and be able to explain it, but to a large extent, a baby already is beginning to discover who he or she is. So I want to assure you, if you're listening to me or looking at my face, and then you feel like, thank God for this opportunity, or I'm going to discover myself, more often than not, you have already discovered so many things about yourself. You might not just be as aware as possible about the things that you have discovered. Okay? All right. So it means that, from the things that we have established already, that intentional living is what pushes us to self-discovery. Your self-discovery pushes us to intentional living, and that, you are not exactly at a zero level self-discovery, that you already know some things about yourself. You might not just be aware of it. And of course, the more aware you are of it, the more intentional you be as well. So it means if self-discovery pushes you to intentional living, if self-awareness pushes you to intentional living, then it means that to a large extent, intentional living is important. And we need to give intentional living quite a lot of attention. We need to give intentional living quite a lot of attention. All right. So you cannot achieve your highest potential if you're not intentional about it. You cannot achieve your highest potential in life, highest potential in your businesses, highest potential in your relationship if you actually are not living intentionally. So, your business might be doing quite well, and you might be doing quite well in your career. But if you're not being intentional, then more often than not, it means that there are things that you're supposed to explore, or there are opportunities or potential that you're not even touching at all yet. So intentional living actually drives you to maximize your potential or maximize available potential, and then pushes you forward towards achieving more things, discovering more things that you probably didn't know initially that you could do, that you're beginning to do. So this further ascertains that self-discovery is not an end in itself. Self-discovery is a process. We discover ourselves, discover more and more and more and more and more about ourselves as we become more and more aware, and as we become more and more intentional about our living. Okay? So everything that we think, say, or do needs to become intentional from now on. You cannot just decide that I just want to spend time thinking and not be intentional about what you want to think about. What do you want to think about? You can't just wake up and say, oh, I'm going to start Instagram Live and I'm going to just start talking and talking and talking and talking. You have to be intentional about what do I want to say? What do I want people to get? Who do I want to talk to? What do I want them to go away with? What impression do I want to leave with them? What change do I want to bring in their lives? What do I want them to remember me for? And all of those kind of things. So we need to become intentional about our needs, our desires, the way we spend, the way we interact with people as well. And as much as possible, make it align with what we are sensing is our purpose and our values. Make it align with what we're sensing is our purpose and our values. We can hardly talk about self-discovery without talking about purpose, without talking about values, without talking about goals. And this is important because when you're trying to discover what something is for, when you're trying to discover, for example, you have a spoon and you're trying to, or maybe permit me to say you are a spoon and you're trying to discover what you are meant to do, then it means that you're trying to find out what your purpose is. And as a spoon, you're a metal spoon or a plastic spoon, then you want to decide, well, I'm a plastic spoon, I don't like hot water, and automatically we already know the kind of places you are tending towards. And I'm a metal spoon, I'm able to get into hot water and do some, maybe tougher kind of jobs. Or you discover that you're a plastic spoon, but yet you're strong enough to go into hot water, then probably you're used for some kind of non-stick pot kind of thing. And this is saying that each spoon, based on the quality or based on the material that it finds itself containing, is what the spoon now says, this is what I'm supposed to be expressing. This is what I found about myself. Every time they put me in hot water, I bend back so much, I know hot water is not meant for me. And that is why purpose is important. If you don't know purpose, if you don't have values, and you don't set goals, then it will be hard for you to discover yourself. Quite a number of people believe that you can only do those three when you discover yourself. But I want to tell you that there is no hard fast rule to say you must first of all find purpose before you say you've discovered yourself. Or, self-discovery now directly leads to goal setting, or goal setting directly leads to having values. No, it's not a straight line. For every one of us, based on our journey in life, we don't exactly get to the same places. We don't exactly do the same things. We don't exactly realize ourselves in the same way every time. And that is why it is self-discovery, not teacher discovery or coach discovery or some other terminologies that you might want to use. Because this has to happen for yourself, by yourself, based on the experiences that you have had. And this is not to say that you can't actually solicit for feedback. In fact, you should be intentional about soliciting for feedback as well. More often than not, we just want to do things, assess ourselves and say, oh, I did well, oh, I didn't do well. Not necessarily asking the people in our lives. You need to start asking your friends. Possibly after this webinar, just send a message to a friend and say, what do you think about me? What do you think about, how I talk or my business life? Just ask any question at all. In recent times, there was this stuff on Instagram where there was, ask me any question or say anything about me, you go to this particular link, it will be anonymous. It was overflowed and many people did it. But the truth is that if you are seeking really, really good information about yourself, that's a good way to do it. Yes, some people will just not like you and want to say bad things, look at you, you're just you're too good, whatever. We know those ones are just by the side. But somebody who writes well about you, gives you a strong feedback, you can say, oh, okay, yeah, I can understand what this person is saying. But personally, I wouldn't even say you should go anonymous about it. And why am I saying that? The relationship you have with someone will let you know whether the person has a right to have an opinion or to have a strong opinion about you or not. And you want to know whether that's the person you want to listen to or not. Somebody might just be following you on social media and that person will have an opinion about you. That's fine. Maybe because they've read some of your posts and they've seen some of the pictures you have put up. But the person who lives in your house, the person you went to school together, your friend, your siblings, your parents, your colleagues at work, they have stronger opinions. They know you much more deeper than these other people know you, and you should be intentional about soliciting feedback from this set of people. So, like I said, could be your teacher as well, your teacher, your coach, your siblings, your parents, your friends, your neighbor, your colleague, your at work, or even your employer or your employee. It goes both ways. Who am I as a leader? Who am I as a follower? And all of those feedback, they're supposed to come back to you for you to put other things with it and then say, this is the direction I seem to be tending towards. This is who I am. This is where I feel I am strong. This is where I'm not strong. I thought I was a fantastic person in this area, but listening to this feedback, I still have work to do.